Hey, what's up? How you doing out there? Live in New York, we're coming at you, Bigger and Louder podcast. Anthony's obviously looking into our other camera here.
It's a little hard right now, so.
All right, everybody. So earlier today, we were taking you through a couple new segments we're going to do. We're going to continue on with that. We got some fun questions for Anthony. Here we go now. Start the show now. Everybody, start the show now. Let's see. So now that we've got this going, we'll come at you live. Okay. So, Anthony, earlier today on the show, we took you through a this or that one. We took you through a what do you think about this? And you had some good ideas earlier to talk about like our firsts or like some
First worst, I think.
First worst.
I mean, everyone's got the first worsts, and honestly, it's just like everyone's got embarrassing stories. Otherwise, how do you learn and grow from them and look back and not have a laugh at it, right? So,
I agree. Okay, so here we go. Let's pick a good one here. Tell us about your worst first date, Anthony.
Oh my goodness, all my shit. First worst dates. I mean, pretty much all my dates have been horrible. They're never good.
Why? What is one reason?
I don't know. They always end up. I don't know. A lot of my dates used to like OkCupid, or I used to run to the wrong person, and I can't explain it. But the first worst date I've ever had. Oh my god. Okay, so I actually we're talking about the very first date, or just
Anthony, what's the first fucking date you had that went bad? Tell me that story.
Okay.
Like Jesus.
Okay, so I actually it was actually in the city, and I remember I met, this is, obviously I was in my mid-20s, and I had met somebody on a dating app. Just had it because fuck it, why not? Everyone's using it nowadays. It's 21st century. So I found this girl, and we actually met at a local, like, a wine bar. I remember this very vividly. We were in a wine bar. Everything went well, and then from there we went to go see a movie. But however, the thing that she didn't understand is, like, when I go to a movie, I like to get the whole experience, and by the experience means I actually
want that blow job or hand job through the popcorn.
Yes, but but no, actually, I loaded up on popcorn and snacks, and honestly, like, I ordered so much I couldn't carry it in 2 hands. So I actually asked her, "Hey, can you carry this extra load of food?" And she was like baffled that she doesn't carry my food into the movie.
So you weren't going to try to hold her hand with your greasy ass popcorn?
Well, I think, fuck it. I said, what, listen, food is always a way to a girl's heart and laughter. So I thought, fuck it. So I think as I was eating, I think she was so, like, grotesque at how much food I was actually eating, like, in the theater. And I think midway she got up and left and didn't call back. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here enjoying the movie. She actually tells me, Anthony, like, have a good one. I'm like, thanks a lot.
All right. Well, I think we can, agree that Anthony is probably not being 100% honest with us in saying that his worst first date was having some girl.
No, you said any first worst date. I mean, I got other ones, but, like, that was the first one that came to mind.
All right, that's the first one that came to mind.
Yeah, okay. It's the recent.
What about your worst trip? Now, you've done a lot of overseas travel, right? You had a good friend Bobby that you used to travel with. Yeah. What is the worst experience you had while traveling, like, overseas?
Oh my god. Worst one overseas. Let me think here. Oh man. I think it was actually, we went to India. Yeah, went to India.
Was the whole trip bad?
Pretty much. I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, if you go, India is, as you know, is a third world country, and once you actually land, it's just, like, very cultural shocking. Like, you can just smell the pollution. It's worse than South, Los Angeles. You think South Los Angeles?
I don't think so. No, I don't think South LA is that bad.
No. Okay. Well, okay. Southern California. If you think they got a lot of pollution over there, like, India is like uncharted.
I think it's worse in New York than it is in LA.
So, we land in India. The pollution is obviously unbearing, and you gotta remember, like, we tried staying up to stay ahead of the bell curve in terms of like the time difference, and for some reason, we couldn't. I actually got sick over in India where I thought I was getting flu-like symptoms. I thought I caught like an actual random bug out there, and I was miserable for the first like 3 days. I was like bedridden, and I thought like we had to get me home, but that was probably like one of the worst things that ever happened to me. I was vomiting. I was on the toilet.
What'd you have?
That's the thing. I didn't have anything. Like, all I was eating was just like Pizza Hut over there because it was just cheese and bread. Basically, how could you screw that?
Right,
one
no
up?
burgers, right?
No hamburgers. No, I didn't have any of the curry out there.
No chicken tikka masala.
None of that. I just could not get used to the food. Like the food, the weather, the atmosphere was just too much, man. So honestly, it was the third day in, I got sick. I was bedridden for another 4 days, and then we came home. So that was pretty much it.
Never been to India, but I do love me a good Bollywood flick.
Hey, listen, like, you ask anybody, I hate Indian food. I just hate it. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like naan. I don't like any of that curry. I don't like it. No.
Who doesn't like naan, dude? Get the hell out of here.
Oh, man. So here's a funny joke. So actually, an Indian guy walks into a job, and then he actually gets hired by another job because he had a non-compete. Get it? No? Went over your head, huh?
Yes.
Okay, never mind. Move on.
All right, we're gonna keep going. Anthony, none of these are funny. I know you don't do anything at home by yourself. You don't do DIY. You hire people.
Yep, pretty much.
Let's see. What else do we have here?
Oh, I think we got some viewers here.
What's your worst fashion faux pas?
I think anyone who wears fucking scarves or turtleneck in the fucking summer drives me fucking nuts. Like, really.
You were a scarf guy for a while, though. You were wearing scarves.
Look, no, you didn't hear what I said. I said anyone who wears scarves or turtlenecks in the summer. Okay. What are you thinking? Like, what are you thinking about wearing something like that? You know, when it's fucking 90 degrees outside and fucking humidity to add to.
No, I guess you're right. I mean, unless you're using it to mop up the sweat.
Like, you know.
Okay, here's another good one.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's your worst encounter with a wild animal?
The worst encounter with a wild animal? Oh man, that's really random because the worst encounter, I was actually driving home one time many years ago. I just got my license, and I remember I put my head down for 30 seconds. It was like pitch black out. It was like maybe 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. And I remember I put my head down for 30, just for literally 8 seconds. No, not even that, but a quick second. I pop up, and a fucking deer just like jumps out in the middle of the road. I fucking destroy this damn deer. It crashed like head on with the front of the car.
Bronco?
No, my mother's car, actually. I fucked this car up really badly, but I smacked into it so hard that it actually flew over the car. I stopped. You think I took it out, but no, this thing got up and
you didn't drive backwards and try to finish the job?
No, I was like, what the hell just happened? Just like big thing, just like hit across the car, but to get the car fucking fixed. And unfortunately, like car insurance doesn't cover for, deer collisions. So like
they don't? Not out here?
I don't think so.
Not in upstate New York? All right. Well, that was a bunch of horseshit answers. So we're gonna move back on to our.
You are reading these off a fucking list.
I came up with this list. You came up with this list. All right, let's move on, and we're gonna get into some more controversial, touchy subjects.
Sure. Do I get to ask some questions?
You want to ask some?
I'll tell you what.
All right.
You go ahead. We'll finish with me, and then we're gonna.
All right. I'll ask you a couple more. We'll get through a this or that with Anthony. So we're gonna go through a bunch of this or that with what's up, Priscilla?
Hey, Priscilla.
Big Tony's over here, coming at you live from New York, baby. All right. So Anthony, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter.
I'm going Harry Potter.
You're gonna go with Harry Potter.
I'm gonna go with Harry Potter just because it's more jovial. They did like a longer series, and it was easier to digest. Lord of the Rings has too many moving parts to it.
Too many moving parts. Okay.
Yeah.
The Wiz or the Wizard of Oz?
Wizard of Oz. Next question.
What? Ah, no, come on. He's on down the road.
Move on down to the next question.
American Pie or Superbad?
Super bad. Hands down. McLovin in the house.
All right.
Who's supposed to be an Irish R&B singer?
The Exorcist or The Shining?
Shining. Big Jack Nicholson fan. Big.
Titanic
Mhm.
or The Notebook?
God, they both fucking suck. Let's go Titanic.
Avengers
Mhm.
or Justice League?
Oh God, Avengers. Absolutely Avengers.
Thor or the Hulk?
Hulk. No, the Hulk.
Okay. Napoleon Dynamite,
Mm-hmm.
Nacho Libre.
Napoleon Dynamite. Ugh.
You don't like Jack Black?
I just didn't find that movie entertaining. It was shit.
Tropic Thunder
Uh-huh.
or Zoolander?
I can't comment. I didn't see either.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tropic Thunder is one you can't miss.
I mean, we got to omit that one. Let's get a replacement.
Office Space,
Mm-hmm.
Idiocracy.
Didn't see either.
Oh my God. Spaceballs,
Uh-huh.
History of the World Part 1.
Spaceballs. I mean, History of the World. I mean, the one I will say, the History of the World. The funny thing is like he comes down with like the commandments, and he's like,
These 15.
the 10 commandments. That part cracks me up all the
Yeah,
time.
I love those, man. And like, what is he? The Ethiopian slide.
Oh.
Gregory Hines. Awesome. I love that shit.
Man, we got some viewers coming in on Instagram, folks. Are there any questions over there, John?
No, there's no question.
Nobody got some questions? Please ask us some questions. We're not doing this because we want to. We're doing this because we have to, because we love all of you people.
Shawshank Redemption
Mhm.
or The Green Mile?
Shawshank.
Okay.
I mean, both have no, never mind. Yeah, I thought they both had Tom Hanks in it. No, just
Silence of the Lambs.
Mhm.
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for Old Men.
12 Years a Slave. Emancipation.
I haven't seen either, believe it or not.
Me neither.
What the-
Martin Luther King Jr. Rosa Parks.
I'm going Martin Luther King because he seems like the type of guy that would be chill, and he seems like more passive with his with his way he approaches things. So I'm going to him. So
Rosa Parks was too fiery for you.
I mean, she refused to give her seat up on the bus, so like that shows like she's got some, she got some sass to her. So I'm gonna go with Martin Luther King.
All right. Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation. Next question. Yeah, and you were actually an Xboxer for a while, and you were a PlayStation guy for a long while.
Yeah.
I don't know who or what brainwashed you to believe Xbox is actually worth investing time into, and it took a very, very long time to convert you on back.
It wasn't so much as a conversion of more of it was like the pool of people that I was playing games with were playing Xbox
Yeah,
at the time.
But you remember, like they're like, yeah, I was like over there on the top. You're like, yeah, you gave up a Ferrari for
Anthony,
Honda.
the only game you play was Madden.
Yeah, it's still like I could have bought more games. You gave up a Ferrari for a Honda Accord.
All right. Well, that's going to take, that's going to be it for, me asking the questions over here. So let's get it over to Anthony.
All right,
So,
cool.
all right. Anthony doesn't need a fucking list. He just wants to ask questions.
No,
So we're just going to let him fire away.
All right. So again, for the viewers watching on Instagram right now, and who's gonna be listening to this on the audio at some point, we're just kind of doing like a rapid fire questions just to kind of see like what type of answers we're getting out of random that are really true blue. So I guess let's ask you some questions. Let's talk about your first worst, right? Like
Okay.
everyone's got a first worst. And then by first worst, I don't mean like the one that happened several different times. Let's talk about the first time that you ever, let's say the first time you ever asked a girl out. Like where was it? What did you do? And what happened? Like, how'd you ask this person out? And like, what was the outcome of it?
I think, okay. So the first I asked, I think I was in 7th or 8th grade.
Okay.
And I just had a crush on her. I don't know why. I think she knew I existed, but only because I was an obnoxious fuck.
By choice, or was that just because just by nature?
Yes, my nature is to be an obnoxious fuck. So we get to the cafeteria and all of our friends are around the table and they're like, yo, ask her out. But she's with all her friends and we don't have conversations like that. So I'm like, all right, fine, I'm going to do it. So I end up walking over to her table, being like, "Hey," like, shouting her name out. All her friends look at me, and because she was on the far side of the table from me, I climb up on the table and lean over, and I'm like, "Hey, you want to go out with me?"
Just like that. Wait, were you that subtle, or did you yell at her? Like,
No, I think I played it pretty smooth, but I got a resounding maybe, and then ultimately, absolutely the fuck not.
do you think it was more because like you put her on the spot, or do you think it was because she was embarrassed, or like what do you think the reaction was? Like,
I think it was, who the fuck is? Why is this guy asking me out?
why
Is he asking me out in front of all these people? And why is his knee in this chicken nugget?
Yeah, like, why is he over the table sweating over me profusely?
Hey.
Please go out with me. You're my last hope. Okay, cool. So like, all right. So maybe not the first time, but maybe did you try a second time or a third time? Just trying to like,
no, that would
maybe be more.
I take a hint. Once someone says no, I don't keep.
But you do know when someone
I
says
don't
no,
know
they
back on
really mean yes. They're just plain hard to get.
That is, we are not advocating for that. No means no, Anthony.
Okay, so you guess you didn't see the movie Naked Gun the third installment?
No, I
remember when he says to the guy. Remember he says he's like. He says to Jane, he's like, "Oh, I know when a girl says no, she really means yes." He's like, "Yes, what do you mean no?" He's like, "All right, he's doing the opposite."
Yeah, you're funny.
Okay, so lunch table. All right, so lunch table blues. We'll call that one. First worst. Tell me a time when. I think of a good one here. Okay, let's think of a time when you actually. I'm trying not to let's not go into the weeds of this thing because I'm sure we're going to.
Oh my God. You want the list?
No, if you're willing to share, yes, but I'm not trying to put you in the spot here. How about a time when you actually were out partying and let's say, that's too easy. I'll tell you what, let's go back to a time when maybe that's even.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm trying to be Jill G rated here, man. I'm not trying to throw.
Ask a fucking question.
Okay, fine. Let's talk about a time when you. Okay. Tell me a time that you actually. Yeah, I know, guys. I'm not really good at this question here.
A lot of dead air here, Anthony.
What, John. Tell you what. While I'm thinking, why don't you go ahead and ask me questions for the viewers? Just what we got in here. Do you have anything?
Tits or ass?
Oh, ass. Absolutely.
All right.
Very much. Okay. So, fair enough. So, have you ever been caught watching porn by anyone? Your parents, maybe a girlfriend, maybe like your roommate. Anytime you ever you were just doing your own thing.
Probably just Jody.
Probably just Jody. No, you never had mom or dad walking on
No.
your hands. Never. They were like, "John, what's this bill here?"
Anthony, who used to announce to his mom, "Ma, don't come in. I'm gonna be cranking one out." Ma, put the sock on the door.
Ma, please. You're breaking.
Ma, where's my lotion?
You're violating so many rules, Mom. Oh man. Okay, so never like that. Okay. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so tell me a guilty pleasure that you have. Do you enjoy watching porn? That's a question. Do you enjoy?
No, that's a terrible question.
It's a terrible question.
No, I would say no. Like enjoy it.
Yeah. Do you enjoy it? Like people enjoy going for walks. Some people like riding their hands. They're like riding.
I don't know. I do not think that I find porn as enjoyable as going on a nice walk.
Okay. No. Okay.
No, Anthony. I don't get the same thrill.
Okay. What thrills you then? Is there anything outside of your marriage that thrills you?
What?
I know. Maybe I don't know. Just
you're not good with the on the spot questions.
I know. Well, that's why again it's rapid fire. Whatever's coming to mind. Okay. Jeez Louise. Let's go into it. Okay. So, have you ever got caught cheating? Well, this is a G-rated question. I mean, like cheating on a test in high school. I don't know. It's like a weird question.
I got caught having people cheat off me.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
What happened? Tell us.
One of our English teachers, all these guys were trying to cheat off me, and I finally was like, get the fuck out of here. And I think I ended up telling them one of the answers, and of course the teacher saw me showing them the report.
Oh my god.
Or the Scantron back in the day.
Oh man. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit because sorry folks, my questions, I thought I had some good ones, but I don't, so I'm gonna move on to something better. We're gonna go on to sort of a three, what do you call this? The three strike where you gotta marry one, fuck one, kill one. Okay, let's talk about that. I think that's a good way to start. Okay. Sure. So if you had to pick between, let's see. Okay. Let's talk about a cast of The Hangover, right? You got to marry one, fuck one, and kill one. Who would you actually do?
The cast of The Hangover.
Yeah.
I would kill Bradley Cooper.
Okay. Why is that?
Because fuck Bradley Cooper.
Okay.
It's a try hard.
Try hard?
He's a try hard.
What does that mean, to try hard?
It means he tries too fucking hard. He's like every year he's trying to win an award now. You know, like, hey man, we liked you in Silver Linings Playbook, whatever the fuck that movie was called, about the goddamn Eagles. Fuck the Eagles.
Fuck the Eagles. Okay. All right. So
I would marry Ed Helms.
You would marry Ed Helms?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would fuck Heather Graham.
No, it's gotta be Zach Galifianakis.
No, you said the cast.
The three main cast members. All right, let me be more specific. The three main cast members.
I like my answer better.
Yeah, but it doesn't count.
You didn't establish the parameters.
All right, fine. Let's do another one then. Fine. But let's say, okay. Okay, I got it. Okay, you got to marry one, fuck one, you got to kill one. KFC, Chick-fil-A, or Popeyes. Go.
I would kill Chick-fil-A. I would marry KFC, and I would fuck Popeyes.
Okay. What's your reasoning behind that?
There's no reasoning.
Just nothing. It's like you must. I mean, you had to plot it. So what was? There's no reasoning whatsoever.
Because I fuck Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
That shit, no, like fuck them and like their homosexual.
Well, no, they stand by like it's real chicken. It's not like processed meat.
It's real homophobia. That's what I think.
How do you get that out of Chick-fil-A?
You got to look at where they donate their money to, man. It's a private company.
I don't know.
They give their money to a lot of political organizations
like
that support. I don't know what the fuck, but if you look it up, they're all like anti-gay, anti-trans, Christian organizations.
So they're more of like, would you say a nice way to put
Christian chicken?
What a nice way to put it? Would you say there's more a very conservative group? A nice way to put it simply, without diving too much into the weeds of that.
No, I wouldn't put it like that. But sure, if you'd like,
I'm asking.
No, so I don't like Chick-fil-A. I think KFC, that's the original. That's the one that's gonna be there. It'll be there for you when you need it, just like wifey, it'll always be there. And then Popeyes, because every now and then they, throw on the short skirt, looking fresh with that chicken sandwich, and you might just need to get in there and
just nibble away. Oh man. Okay, let me think of another one. Okay, so we said that. So let's think of another one. Let's do one more. Gotta marry one. You gotta take one out. Okay, here we go. Pizza, Chinese food, or tacos. Go.
I would kill tacos.
Okay.
I would marry Chinese food because that's broad, and I would fuck pizza.
Okay.
I would, if you put a good-looking pizza in front of me, I might just rub it all over my dick anyway.
You know something? That's
smush it all over my genitals.
That's actually the order I had to. Okay, fair enough. Cool. Oh man. Speaking of food, I actually was. I think we saw Dune. I think I told you we saw Dune 2 last night.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
we saw Dune 2 last night. Didn't see Dune 1. I thought like Dune 2. I got made fun of for this because a friend of mine says to us in a group text, anyone want to go see Dune 2 in the IMAX? I was like, fuck yeah, IMAX. Like, why not? This has got to be a good movie. And I had no idea that there was a Dune 1. So I thought
even though it was called Dune Part 2.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm like, I told him, I said, well, look at Street Fighter 2. I said, like, have you ever heard of the first Street Fighter? No, it's always Street Fighter 2 and some other adaptation to it. So I tried watching it, and I'm not gonna lie, I liked it. I can see how people can get hyped up over it, but I didn't love it.
You didn't love it? I loved it. I think it was the best sequel maybe of all time, like rivaling Godfather Part 2, and not like the overall like movie or whatever, but just saying as a follow-up to the first, this was so much stronger than the first.
Sure.
Part.
I mean, there's always
action, drama, a couple twists and turns in there that I saw coming. But...
Yeah, I mean, I think so. If I heard like there was a book that was written about this, and they're trying to like make the book and the story into like this, big franchise, like they did with Lord of the Rings in that sense, right? They're trying to make it like the big. Like even what what Christopher Nolan did with the Batman franchise, right? Like they're trying to make it like the big 3-part movie that you know it's coming. But I don't know. Like for me, it was again. I felt like I was watching Lord of the Rings. There was too many moving parts to it. I get the spice, and I understand you got Dave Bautista's clan, and you got the other clan. They don't like each other, and you know, water's a big ship. The Sand People, I get it, but like, I just couldn't. They couldn't draw me in the way other films have done.
I want to see your sandwalk.
My sand, yeah, the sandwalk. All right, so I'm gonna ask you this question.
I want to see
because I got
Sandwalk.
lost in that part. What is the purpose of that sandwalk? Is it just like you're doing it to show like
To not attract the worms, because the worms are attracted to rhythm,
right?
right? So if it's a rhythm like bum bum,
Yeah.
bum,
They
like
pick
you're
up on
walking,
it,
they'll
yeah.
pick up on it and come. But if it's like the wind just blowing the sand, like
Yeah. So basically, don't have a pattern to your walk, essentially, right? And I figured that much because they put those machines. And again, spoiler alert for anyone who didn't see the movie yet. But again, I understand like they put those machines down, which thumps out sound, so the worms do kind of come
like a sonic pulse.
Right.
Yes.
The thing is, here's the thing with these bigger movies, right? And I was talking to some friends who actually was, the guys I went with last night to go see it. And I said, like, as I'm getting older, it's a fact that like every film, every movie, everything you're watching is just like taking ideas in some shape or form from other parts of other movies that were very well done, and then just adapting it into like a new sort of like idea on the screen,
Sure.
right? And I said, for me, like I can pick out things from any movie and be like, oh, I saw this scene in that movie, or I see where they got this idea from, or that idea from, etc. So, for example, the idea, like, in the kid's name who joins this new clan, right? Like, he wants to be part of their clan, he wants to be accepted, and all that. He wants to
Little
learn,
mouse,
right? And right, so the first thing that comes to my mind is, which is always a bread and butter, is Dances with Wolves or Avatar. Same idea. You have an outsider looking to join a clan. That's number one.
Yeah.
The second thing that drew me to it, right, was the fact that like he needs to show that has the, he's a warrior, or he could be as part of the testing.
Right,
so
fighter,
so what does he do? He has to take the 2 hooks, put them on the worm to go and do it. And that was the same thing in Avatar, where he jumps on those pterodactyl things. And he's doing.
He has to link up with them.
He's got to link up.
His little
he's got to
in
be
there.
one with them. I'm like, okay, this is Avatar. Just instead of a fucking flying bird, it's a fucking worm. But okay, and you're in the desert instead of a fucking jungle. Okay. And again, the thing I'm seeing is like also like primitive culture versus also an advanced culture, right? It's the same idea. It's just being spun. So for the point is that as films have been just kind of like proceeding in years, as we've seen, if you can get me drawn in without making me think that, even though, like, I guess the story.
You like unique stories.
I like unique stories, but I don't think there's a unique story anymore. It's all been done. And I'm saying that.
What about like Get Out?
What was that movie about?
You never saw Get Out with Jordan Peele? Or like written and directed by Jordan
Peele. Get Out.
Key and Peele?
Yeah. What was that film about then?
Oh my God. When like they are brainwashing black people and like swapping bodies with them, like doing like some type of transcendence between rich white people and black people.
Wait a minute, is that the one where they do the hypnotic thing to the guy? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That was a great, unique story.
That was pretty unique. Yep, that was independent films are really good because they follow their own rules, right?
It wasn't independent.
Well, I'm saying like independent ideas, but if you think about it, like that's where a lot of the juicy stuff comes from because they're not, there's an expression I've always used is, strike while the iron's hot.
Oh, yeah. Is that you?
Well, again, you heard me say it before. And it's not a new
great one, Anthony. Great. I come up with that.
No. So, like, that's what they're doing. They're just maxing out basically what people want to see, and they know you're going to see it. And I know, like, independent films and independent filmmakers are trying to do real art.
All right. Do you also feel that way about Marvel and the MCU and comic book movies in general? Like, where, is that played out and they're just all the same story and it's all blah, blah, blah. And, why are we seeing another Jurassic Park, another Ghostbusters, another Ninja Turtles, another Top Gun, another Footloose?
They're all being rebooted. I understand the reboot, but like
another Dune.
But in terms of like the Marvel thing, though, like honestly, the Marvel thing, I expected it because it's an adaptation from the comic books and the storylines and so on and so forth. And from there, it's like there was like an end result. Like they had me bought in because I want to follow the story. How are we gonna get to the end of the final movie? And it was all tied together. But yes, as we pointed out in the last show, now they're just trying to just like keep that kind of process going. And then we talked about it, which is the crossover in the universes. And somebody else said the same thing. That might be an easy way out for them to kind of.
I agree. Well, quick note then.
Yeah.
Did it bother, or how do you see Josh Brolin after Endgame? Because watching him now in Dune, it's like a contradiction to me. I'm like, you're fucking Thanos, dude. You're Thanos. Like, all his mannerisms remind me of Thanos.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't see him as one-sided character to another. I think that's what happened with like Adam West and also Captain Kirk with William Shatner. Like they were typecasted as this one type of person, which is why they couldn't get work in the industry going forward. But no, like
I think Shatner's done okay for himself.
I think he's done pretty good with the whole kayak commercials and doing other, bits and pieces here and there, on and on.
Miss Congeniality.
Yeah, but okay. So other than the Star Trek and also from the Twilight series, what else was he in that you can sit there and say, like, yes, I see
William Shatner was in Twilight?
He was in Twilight Zone. Sorry, the Twilight Zone. Yeah, not Twilight Zone in the 60s.
Okay.
He had a couple of key roles in those sort of like
where the fuck am I?
Pretty much, yeah. They're anthology series, so they can always have the cast come back to replay new roles in those series. But really, what other film was he in that you can sit there and say, "Oh yeah, this is where he killed it. I loved him in this movie."
Well, he was a television actor.
Okay, regardless, or what other TV actor Star Trek was
I mean, I guess like you could say that about a lot of people that haven't had like huge success in following roles, like the entire cast of Friends except for Courtney Cox and Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Right. Although I guess like Matt LeBlanc did have, or like a couple series, right? Like episodes. He had another one where he had his sister living with him. I think I'm going to forget the name of that. But then you look at Matthew Perry. He went to the big screen.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Fools Rush In. Selma Hayek. Like enough said. Well, the whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards, the whole 10 yards.
Right.
So I wasn't a fan of that movie.
I like the first one, the whole 9 yards.
You know why? I'm telling you what. It's like
Michael Clark.
It's Matthew Perry being Matthew Perry. Like he's doing Chandler on the big screen, right?
Could you be any more crazy?
Yeah, literally. And like that's what I'm saying. I get it. Sells. Like people want it. Like when you're typecasted as somebody, it just shows like in terms of the industry, like you had no other depth. This is what people see you as.
Right.
And if you try to do anything else besides that, it is a big risk and you might fail at it. And therefore we lose money. But whatever, is what it is. Yeah, but overall back to Dune though, I liked it. I didn't love it. I gave it a fair shot. I really did. I just here's what I loved about it: the cinematography, the lighting, the camera angles, the music, the effects.
Zendaya.
It was all like it was a 15 out of 10.
Did you like it, Anthony?
Right, but like it was just the whole creepy voice thing.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
But other than that, the story itself.
Okay, no, stop. Enough. Because I thought it was fucking awesome.
Okay.
I think Dune again was like probably the best sequel in the last 30 or 40 years that I can remember.
30 or 40 years?
Yeah.
You haven't been on this earth that long, so how can you even make a comparison?
I've been on this earth almost 40 years.
To remember it.
But it doesn't matter because film, you don't have to be alive to know when movies came out or to have seen movies that came out, were released before, you
right.
were born, Anthony.
All right. So you think that's the best film?
I think it's the best sequel. Like I liked Ghostbusters too, but again, I'm like the first one was good. It was like a close second for me.
Well, for me, the best sequel, with the exception, again, like I love The Godfather. I still feel like 2 was, again, everyone hyped 2. I like 1 better, but like you keep forgetting T2, man. That's I know the sci-fi genre, but that is still considered that and Aliens 2 are considered
Aliens.
Aliens are considered the top 2.
I can definitely take merit to T2. I forgot about
what that movie did just for like merchandising and the extension of the brand.
I'll be back.
Video games. I mean, the whole thing was just like they were referenced and parodied and so many other film and shows and shit like that, man. Like, how could you not put that like the top 3 easily?
Well, I would, okay, maybe top 3 or
top
like
3 easily.
Because then you think about like what are some other sequels? Like, okay, like think about Lost World. Not as good follow up to Jurassic Park.
No. First, let me say this: sequels are very hard. Like if you have a good movie and they kill it, it's very, very hard to top that in the second one. Like where do you go? Because people are. It's like you set the standard so high. How do you break through a ceiling? Let's just be serious.
Do you
about that.
remember the second Mission Impossible when Limp Bizkit did the song?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember that. I had a soundtrack to that.
me too.
Yeah.
Because Metallica had a song on that
Did
as well,
they?
right?
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
they have the song.
shit. Man, yeah. So like, I would say T2, Godfather's in there. Would I put this one in there?
Maybe not.
Probably not. No way. No way. I think it's just maybe for like this generation that'll be their top, right? But like, I'm an open mind. I'm firm, but I'm fair. But like, I see it too much as like, all right. And I guess maybe it's hard for me because would you consider? And let me ask you this quick question. I'll give you a follow up. Do you consider Doom more fantasy or sci-fi than fantasy? What would you categorize?
I don't know what the difference is.
Right, and that's how I can't understand like what is it because it's set in a distant future, right? In a very distant fictional future.
It's both. It's a fantasy.
It's not.
I guess like where do
right?
you draw the line? Like how would you differentiate between like what is a purely fantasy versus what is a purely science fiction?
To me, fantasy
like Lord of the Rings is
Lord of the Rings is fantasy, right? Like you're like in that umbrella, if you will. Sci-fi is like we're going into
the Matrix.
The Matrix, if you want to go like all the Star Trek movies that came out with like Stewart and all those dudes that with the next generation, that's sci-fi to me. And there's a hard line between fantasy and it seems Dune took the approach of both. And I can't distinguish.
What about Avatar?
That's more I would say that's more fantasy, I would say. Digital fantasy.
What's your fantasy?
Right?
Okay.
And that's why I'm having a hard time with it. I can't distinguish where do I, I've had people, my wife even said the same thing. Like, yeah, I can never get into these fantasy sci-fi films. It's just too much. It's like.
So is Game of Thrones then fantasy?
That's fantasy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I mean, Game of Thrones, I think.
And you know something? I'm going to be the oddball. I never saw Game of Thrones.
Yeah, you're an oddball.
Yeah.
I'm going to adjust this camera.
Oh, God.
All right. So bigger and louder, live in Washingtonville, New York. Raining here on a Saturday night. Johnny D's on the East Coast. Anthony comes in from Connecticut.
And we are in John D's parents' basement. Man, it's like 1995 all over again. Like we're 10 years old. Having a sleepover.
Sleepover party. Slumber party. All right. This thing keeps moving on me.
Oh, man. Don't touch the wire. Watch you like you're hitting the wire. That's you're hitting it right there. That's why it's moving.
No, this wire goes right here.
Oh, never mind. Disregard.
Disregard. All right. Well, let's continue this movie talk then.
Okay.
So, what about Fast and the Furious? Where do you stand on those? How many Fast and the Furious movies have you seen? And were you with us when Sauce's dad had to drive at 1 a.m. to pick us up from the Middletown Galleria?
The furthest I ever got in that movie series was the first one, and that was the last one. I mean, listen, I feel like in a way, like if you're gonna be a director, like or an actor, the fact that you could be in that many movies, that's all you have to do. If you're just interested in making $1, like it's expected they're gonna make another sequel and just keep doing the same plot over and over again.
Right.
And no, I wasn't with you that time. 1 a.m. in the middle in the Galleria Mall. No, wasn't there. Because how many times can you tell the same story? Car chases, theft. Car chases, getting out of the big jam. Oh, let's get out of here. Okay, see you in the next sequel. Make new friends. Do it again, right? How many times have you seen this? But you know something? People eat that shit up.
No, you're right, man.
And I don't know what they get out of it.
You are right. Well, I saw all of them except Tokyo Drift. I don't think
I take it back. I did see that one. And it sucked.
They all sucked.
Yeah, it sucked, yes.
And then they introduced The Rock. They injected franchise Viagra.
Yeah, literally. And you know something? Now you mentioned that, I actually believe that's why they asked him to come on to drive up ratings.
I heard that role was supposed to be played by Tommy Lee Jones.
No way.
I mean, I don't know if there's any truth to that. Like, it just, to me, I mean, maybe if it was made in like 96 and not 2016 or
What is
whatever.
it, like fucking reliving the U.S. Marshal years?
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like U.S. Marshals all over. Like, first of all, some of those movies with Tommy Lee Jones from the 90s, what was it? U.S. Marshals. That's the only one I'm going to remember
the
right
Fugitive.
now.
He was.
Was he in The Fugitive
he-
searching after Harrison
It
Ford?
was
That was him?
Fugitive. He played the U.S. Marshal character there. They thought it had enough potential, and they said, "Let's just make a movie about this fictional character that we created
Right.
in the movie and calling it U.S. Marshals, starring him and Robert Downey Jr. and the rest of the asshole cast."
Wait a minute. So you're telling me U.S. Marshals only exists because of Jack Ryan? Oh, no, that's not.
Where the no? What
Well,
the fuck?
man, I'm confusing my Harrison
Yeah,
Ford
man.
movies.
Man.
The Fugitive was a standalone because I remember Clear and Present Danger and like some of those movies where Harrison Ford played Jack Ryan from the books.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I confused it with.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fugitive is just when he's framed for killing what his
For his
wife.
wife.
Yeah.
And he's on the run.
And the guy has one arm and he's prosthetic.
And
yes.
and then
Yes.
Tommy Lee Jones was casted to do a fictional character just for that movie alone as a U.S. Marshal. And it was such a powerful, I guess they just thought it was a good role for him. We can see some money into it. Let's just call the next movie U.S. Marshals starring him and the rest of the cast.
Snipes.
Wesley Snipes, yeah, he was the new
Wesley
dude.
Snipes.
Yep.
Oh, speaking of, dude, did you like Blade? Because I loved Blade back in the day.
First one was good. The other three were just
The other two
was McShits. So
I thought. Do you remember? You remember Ryan Reynolds
Mhm.
being in that movie, and didn't
Mhm.
he have like? Was that the movie that his mouth was? No. What
are you doing?
Oh, no, Ryan Reynolds did a movie. Well, no, he was in Wolverine. Wasn't he in Wolverine?
Yeah,
Deadpool
So
in there
let's not
too,
get
right?
into those stories, but he because Fox had the rights to the X-Men franchises, so like they did their version of Deadpool, which was a complete utter fucking sham.
Right,
Like
he had no mouth.
they butchered the shit out of that character, and I don't know why they didn't try and stay. I mean, the fucking Fox. And again, I don't want to get too much off topic here, but Fox had to like try to get so unique with these characters, thinking like we're gonna reinvent the character from the comic book onto the silver screen, but in a different way. That's
Well,
gonna
that's
sell.
what reinvent means.
But yeah, but like it's just don't, because that's like asking, I don't know, give me I don't know, I can't explain it. That's like, well, I'll figure out a better example, but like, no, you don't do it. Like, if you're gonna make an adaptation, you gotta stick to the roots of it, because there's very little room for error, and people are they have an expectation. They don't want the creativity because you're just trying to, again, bring a comic book character to life. But anyway,
yeah, I mean, I guess I get that. Like, I think that they're allowed to take their creative license, but I think you're right. Like, they would just butcher this character. Like, he had all those weird dots on him.
Yeah. Well, thankfully now MCU owns the rights now, right? Or let me back it up there. No, actually, Fox decided to reinvent. Well, they said, you know what? Let's make it more vulgar.
Disney bought Fox.
Yeah, Disney bought Fox now, so now they can actually do it the right way. They go back to like the whole, costumes.
Well, now with Deadpool Wolverine coming out.
Yeah, I'm holy shit, I'm stoked for that movie.
Yeah,
oh my god,
that might be the best superhero movie yet.
It's just like because they're two Canadians, two Canadian superheroes.
Is Deadpool from Canada?
Oh, that's why his colors are red like that. Oh, Canada. But no, that is why. And then, where the fuck were we going with the story? We got off topic about Deadpool, but
no, we're talking about
Deadpool. Yeah.
Well, we're talking about sequels because I was like, you were burnt out on Fast and Furious because there's 10 of those fucking movies.
Yeah,
I don't think they're stopping.
No, why would they?
You
know why? Because people are gonna watch it.
But okay. So here's something. So I do like Jason Momoa, Jason Statham. Those guys are awesome. But like, what is like The Rock? Come on, Dwayne Johnson. Like, do you smell it?
I'm telling you,
they're awesome, man.
Like they gotta, and again, it's the old expression, right? Like he who holds the gold makes the rules. So they're gonna keep there's a point. There's a point to this. If these films are making money, they're going to only want to do the same thing over again because they know what it's going to get them back in return. They're not in these big, and again, you used to work for Paramount, and what these big head, wig guy, these big higher ups want.
They call them tent poles. Movies that make so much money that they prop up the whole year.
Yeah.
And then they fund all the other projects that don't make shit.
Right.
And then you get back to the other tent pole for the next year.
Right.
And that funds all the other projects that don't make shit.
So, like, okay, there was I forgot the name of this movie, and maybe I'm going to have to Google it, but it was about like an artificial guy. I can't. It was done in the first person. Like, you watch him literally just like do action scenes, but through his eyes only. Killer Joe. Give me a second. Let me Google this.
No, don't Google.
No, I'm gonna Google.
No,
it.
we have gotten so many comments about you getting off your phone and stopping to Google.
No, I got it because people are like, "What is this guy talking about?" Hold on.
They'll let the audience Google
it. Okay, fine. Well, it's about it's an action film that came out back in 2015, I think, and it was done in the first person, right? Where literally you don't see the guy's face at all. And literally, you just watch him just like take out guns, you take out knives, he's jumping off a helicopter.
Doom?
No, it's not Doom. Action Joe. All right, whatever the hell it is. But anyway, I think, as I told you, they need to rethink the way they are directing movies now. I think they really need to go to a more artistic sense of how they're approaching it instead of just rehashing the same taglines, the same sort of plots, the same sort of like setups, the same excitement. It's just like.
But doesn't that then require, it requires new stories to be told? And what I mean by that is you're not going to get these huge action blockbusters that have unique storylines on a yearly basis.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said,
Hardcore Henry, that's what it's called, folks. Hardcore Henry.
Oh, God.
Sorry. All right, but go ahead. Say what you're saying.
We couldn't keep him away from the phone.
No, I couldn't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I think that, there's something to be said about telling unique stories, but you can't have like big action blockbusters every year that are going to be unique, or like comedies. It's hard to tell like a unique or like romantic comedy. Like, I think those have been done to death, but they're so formulaic at this point that you need to have such outlandish curveballs within your story for it to be unique, that I feel like studios, especially the major ones, don't really want to put too much budget behind it, and then too much budget, aka too much marketing behind it. So, perfect example to this was Sony put out a movie in 2020. I think it was like late 2022, and it was a unique story. And one of the executives made a comment to the effect that it was like, man, this is a great, like, big screen, silver screen title. I wish that they put the silver screen budget behind it. That it was a unique story that we was getting told. It was like, black voices, female lead, the whole 9 yards, but it wasn't marketed as such. Mm-hmm. And therefore, like, it didn't perform as well in like that first theatrical window, that first weekend, or that first month of release. And it's like, studios, they don't want to put all their eggs into one basket. So even if it's something they believe in and they're going to greenlight it, they're going to release it theatrically, they're not willing to put as much marketing behind it as they are, let's say, like something safe, like a Spider-Man, a Mission Impossible, like, now, like, those big franchise tags, like, Ninja Turtles, for example. The success that Sony had with the first Ghostbusters movie in a while, Afterlife. Huge fan of that. I think Frozen Empire is going to be lots of fun. Like, I'm really looking forward to that. I already got my tickets. Thank you. Shout out to Big Tim, also from Washingtonville. So, we're going to go see that. That's everywhere, dude. Ghostbusters, they've had the toys out for a month. Cinemark and AMC already started releasing like the fucking popcorn commemorative buckets and cups and everything, which I already picked up some of those. Like, they're already out there, and like, you just don't get that with smaller stories. So I think like that's the conundrum, dude. We want these things, but the people that are paying to get them made are not going to put some like.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's their money, and like, you can have the hottest idea on the planet, but you know what they're going to say? Do I obviously just invest my money in something I know that could potentially crash, or do I go back to the well?
And so we'll see if this guy actually unfriends me now. But good enough guy but he's a total fucking cynic. This dude drove me and my friends, like and Jody, to a wine festival. He was like our Uber driver, probably 9 years ago, 8 or 9 years
You
ago.
have a new best friend who's an Uber driver?
This was like 8 or 9 years ago, and we just were like talking about like, I don't know, fucking politics, like whatever.
Wait,
in the
I
car.
gotta ask you a question. Was this the guy that you invited to your wedding? I remember like an Uber driver.
No,
Okay.
no.
I remember not the, and Leah, just for the audiences out there, like I gotta share this quick, just top of mind. Like I remember you guys got an Uber and you guys liked the driver so much that you guys invited him to a wedding as a +1. Isn't that what happened? I'm almost positive that's what happened.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, never mind
No,
that.
no, that's like you're confusing that with a poorly written movie too.
Okay, I don't think so, but all right, please continue your story. Though.
No, excuse me. No, yeah, and then you know what? He fell in love with my wife's best friend, and now we go on double dates all the time. No, so this guy, nice enough guy. We clicked or whatever. Fucking guy adds me on Facebook. We're friends, whatever. We share posts, but he's like a wannabe writer. He wanted to be a writer, and from what I can tell, I've never read any of his work, so I won't even venture to guess. But like I can tell that he probably does have some good stuff out there. And he's complained about like submitting his writing pieces to either like contests or websites that get them in front of studio executives or whatever. And he always says that he gets these like great glowing marks. Like, oh, what a unique story and like great characters. And like, I wish you could just develop this more so you could do another draft of it or something. But I guess the studios or like the selections that are even made at that level are again like the same predictable bullshit. And that's what he's been complaining about. Yeah. And it's like, I don't even know like how you bypass that other than like, the bullshit that we're doing. Low budget, plug a microphone in, grab a camera, and like put your ugly mug on a screen.
To your point, it's like every time you watch a Disney movie, it's the same sort of like highs and lows throughout the entire, hour and 30 minutes, right? It's like the high action comedy, the funny, like gimmicky, it's like the lows when they hit, and it's like that same formula being done over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, like, for me to like get into a movie, you have to, or expecting the film to follow a formula of some shape or form. I'm expecting that movie to get me entrenched in like the scene, the character, to not make me think that. Like, you gotta make me think I'm not thinking about that anymore. If you can do that, I'm into it. Right. And there's been a few movies that have done it. Like I can name a few movies on top of my head.
Do it then. Tell me.
So
now I'm interested to see this.
So like again, we talked about it earlier, but we said the movie No Country for Old Men that had a very good standalone plot for what it was worth.
Great story.
Great story.
Great story. Great acting.
Right.
The whole 9 yards.
You got it.
Tommy Lee Jones again.
Yep. There Will Be Blood. About the oil industry back in the early 1900s.
Wasn't a big fan of it, but yes.
You know what I mean?
Personally, I didn't like it, but yes, a great movie.
Right. And again, like the Coen brothers directed one, and the guy who directed There Will Be Blood, but like the idea is like, I'm not comparing this to something else I've seen already.
What about Gangs of New York?
Speaking
of Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, but you know where, but you want to know something else? You're going to hate me on this? Yes, love Gangs of New York. And after I saw The Departed, hated it. You know why? It was the same thing. It was like, okay, Gangs in New York, you got a top villain and a young Leo DiCaprio who takes him under his wing, right? And it becomes more of like a conflict of like, oh, like I hate this guy, but I'm liking him now. It's like you're forgetting like what, there's like and then no, and then The Departed, think about it. And then The Departed was the same thing. Leo DiCaprio is now with Jack Nicholson, who's like you're hired to sort of be an informant for the police to get information on Jack Nicholson, who's running the mob, but like now he's getting closer to Jack, who's putting him under his wing. So I'm now seeing Gangs of New York, but instead of one's in the 21st century, the other one's dated back in the 1800s, right? It's just like, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't agree on that one, dude. I think like Gangs of New York and Departed are completely different movies. The thing that they have in common is Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right. That, but like different movies, yes, different movies, different plots but the same sort of like recipe behind it. You're taking two top villains who take younger Leos.
There was never a top, like the Butcher. And also, Daniel Day-Lewis never took Leonardo DiCaprio under his wing.
Yes, he did. Gangs of New York?
Yeah.
He most certainly did.
When?
From the time he actually landed in his doorstep saying, like, hey, I'm Mr. Amsterdam, and he's like, he knew his bullshit.
Right.
And as the movie was progressing,
But I think that was like a very small piece of it. Whereas like The Departed's entire plot is resting on how close Leonardo can get to Whitey Bulger.
right, but you know what he ended up saying at the end? Oh yeah, Costello trusts me with everything. I was his most like at the end of the movie, he says it to Matt Damon, who's like, Costello trusted me with everything. He gave me all these files, he gave me all this. I was the most trusted person he could ever do. And I'm thinking, okay, but you know something also I forgot? Both were directed by Scorsese. He went back to the well. He's like, okay, I'm gonna do another movie instead of it being about gangs in New York. I'm gonna
Do you
about
feel that way about Casino and Goodfellas?
Yes, I don't hate them because I grew up with them, but you know, again, the premise behind is like, you know, Scorsese. It's like there's the expression we were talking about earlier. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Like people are gonna watch this sort of like aggressive, violent movies that are really kind of like in your face and very
Joe Pesci, man.
Yeah, man. Just,
I'll watch anything Joe Pesci does.
where the fuck did I ever ask you for permission to move out here, huh?
Oh man. All right. Well, let me see what else we got here. So I love what do I love most about it?
But what?
So I love when a movie's got a nice, tidy ending. I don't necessarily like these little like cliffhangers, right? Or like, all right, what happened? Is he still alive? There's a bubble in the water, or Inception. The top, is it spinning or not
I
spinning?
love that. That's good stuff.
Okay, I like more of a we are absolutely having a sequel, or a no, this movie's over. I like an ending, or a to be continued. What I don't like, and what I can say, I think it was of all the great things that Scorsese has done, what I don't like is when a movie is spelling out for you the lesson or the ending that it wants you to learn. Now, perfect example here is what we were just talking about, The Departed. At the end of The Departed, what happens?
Yeah, a rat just walks right across the railing.
A rat walks across the railing right when Mark Wahlberg shows up to pop him, right? And to me, it's like, why did you need that rat? Why did you need that? Like, what was the thought process behind having a scene that had was so in your face, so on the nose, right? I don't get that. Another good example for that is actually that might probably be the only example.
That's it.
I fucking hated that.
I mean, look,
that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, listen, again, we talk about film a lot in these shows, and I truly enjoy them.
We haven't talked about TV yet.
Yeah, TV's fucking shit. For film though, like I agree with you. Like, I mean, I'm on the other side of that coin. I'm on the other side where, yeah, I do like a good ending, but like, there's two ways I would prefer an ending. Again, it depends upon the movie. One, yes, I do like the Christopher Nolan films when he kind of leaves it up to the audience. Like, what do you think really happened? Like, and
what do you think happened at the end of Inception?
Well, he did say on record, and I already knew it. Yeah, he was not dreaming; he was awake. And even Christopher Nolan said, "Yeah, he was awake because he explained why." I'm like, okay, cool, but
because the thing goes
right. So, like, here. All right, back to Dune. I'm gonna tie it back to Dune. Right. Here's something I like when I see movies that they don't do often, but when it's done, I'm just like blown the fuck away. And just like, if you can pull this off, I'm like, holy tits. It's usually when the movie steers you in the entire direction to make you want to believe something, but at the end of the movie, it's like they do a 180 and actually get you thinking like the opposite. So, for example, did you ever see the movie? It was called Life. Came back in 15 or 16. It was a sci-fi movie.
Yes.
Okay. So
with Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, it was
Twilight.
it was one of the alien they grow in the ship. Okay. So we then, if you remember, it was a solid film the whole way through. The aliens just kind of like doing this thing and
blob,
right? And then what's his face? Jake Gyllenhaal says, "Listen, like we have two pods. You go your way, I'm going my way, right? Okay." And then the two pods go their separate ways. One pod lands, and all of a sudden, like Jake Gyllenhaal says to this girl, I'm gonna die. I've always loved space. I was always gonna die at space. I'm gonna take this alien. We're gonna take it out. You go back to Earth. Okay, we see the two pods separate, and you're thinking, okay, like the movie's kind of like wrapping up, and then you realize, the wrong pods went to the wrong way. Now Jake Gyllenhaal's on Earth, this alien that's gonna now like ruin civilization. This girl's traveling, right? So back to Dune, what I thought would have been a really cool plot twist was you have Dave Bautista's clan, who was pointed as like the villains, they're the antagonists, and then the Emperor with Christopher Walken, and then all of a sudden, like we end up finding out that maybe they, to the audience, like where the kid he comes in as the ruler, he's the new emperor, like he's coming into power. Then maybe it was actually them who was actually the bad people, and it was really like Dave Bautista's clan that was actually the innocent ones to kind of flip your emotions around what the film wanted you to think in the beginning, and then just have you do a complete one. That I thought would have been really cool if they were able to do that. You know, see where I'm going with this.
We will definitely mark a big spoiler alert in this because I know we're talking about the ending of like a brand new movie that's going to make $1 billion. But I think that's an interesting point of view, but I disagree in the sense that, like, I don't think that you can't do the first Dune, the Harkonians, Dave Bautista's clan,
and the Leon.
The Atreides.
I keep thinking of Treyu from the
and that's how I remember
and
it.
Also, before you get to your point, the Emperor's daughter was even dressed like the childlike Empress.
Oh my God!
I couldn't stop
know.
making that comparison.
I know.
I'm like, there she is.
Florence Pugh, though.
Yeah. But go ahead. You were saying?
Yeah. So the but I was saying, I don't know if I remembers what I was saying. No, but the Dune. Oh yeah, the Harkonians were bad because the Emperor was like, hey, move on these fucking people in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Try to assassinate them. And if it doesn't work, you just murder every single man, woman, and child that's around.
Hey, I can use my Harkonian in my both head.
You can be a Harkonian because you look like Bautista.
Oh, stop it, you silly goose.
Yeah. Yeah. If you were like, 6'3",
6'3",
jacked.
Well, I don't know. He's getting a little pudgy around the midsection now because he's always doing the acting. Actually, I think he's gonna be the new Rock. People love him in these films. They expect him to be in these movies.
In what?
Dave Bautista. I think the Dave Bautista, I think is gonna be the next Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, I remember for a couple of years ago, I think he still is, but he's the highest paid actor in all Hollywood.
Yeah.
And people like him. They like he holds good conversation. They just, I think Dave Bautista is slowly on his coattails. They love him in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Everything he's in, he does a good job. You don't think of him in WWE anymore, right?
No, I don't associate.
Right, I don't associate him in that anymore. You just see him.
He came after I stopped watching WWE.
Yeah, he's a likable guy. I think that's what it is. Yeah. He's a likable guy, and obviously Hulk Hogan had his thing back in the early '90s, but that didn't really go anywhere. They typecasted him to do the same shit. But
Hulk Hogan was in all kids movies, right? I don't think he did any.
He did Suburban Commando, Mr. Nanny. He did. There a couple bullshit here and there. Oh, they did
wasn't he like
No
in Three Ninjas? He was the bad guy in Three Ninjas Knuckle Up.
Yeah, he did a fucking bullshit thing over there. But no, Dave Bautista, I think he's on The Rock's coattails.
I don't think he's.
I think he's slowly getting there. I think if anything else, you're gonna be on a pedestal for a while, and then you get knocked off, and a new person gets on there. That's just the way it always works.
The Rock has been on the pedestal now for a decade.
I get, yeah, but I think he's gonna get tired. I mean, he's a likable guy, but I think he's gonna fall off at some point. It's never look, Al Pacino and all those guys were running the '70s, and then the '80s. Guess what? Schwarzenegger and Stallone took over. They won the action guys, and then in the '90s, I don't know who fucking was in the '90s, and then fucking 2000 was Tom Cruise again. It just shifts. The tide shifts at some point. Yeah,
that was a good old burp right there.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Root beer and Chinese food. Cool, man. All right. Well, hey, we loved going live with you guys tonight. Night 1 of 2 here from New York, Washingtonville, baby, upstate.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny D's in town for Daddy's knee replacement. He's doing all right. Thank you for asking. So the next step in our journey after this special live broadcast is we are thinking about hitting the streets of Orange County, potentially going out to Newburgh, Washingtonville, seeing what the the people hold for us.
We want to see how this whole area is transcended after the last like 15 years of being absent. So
Anthony wants to go and interview people and ask them questions. So
Yeah.
I think we're going to do something like that.
yeah, we'll just see. Yeah, we just want to ask some people some general questions, get raw answers, and just kind of see how people respond. You know?
I think it's going to be pretty funny, Kimmel-esque. So we'll try some of that.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back tomorrow because just as we teased the last couple episodes, we are in town to do a fucking pizza showdown. We are going to get a couple slices from each of our favorite pizza places in the area. And we're going to bring them back and do a blind taste test to see which we liked better and which was the best pie.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm very excited.
All right. Thank you, everybody. This has been a special broadcast of the Bigger and Louder podcast with Anthony and Johnny. Thank you, guys.
See you later.